everybody, and welcome to a video on the Constructive Criticism YouTube channel. I'm Spencer, host of Constructive Criticism and Limited Time Only, two podcasts about getting better at Magic the Gathering. Today is Wednesday Night Warrior. It's a video where I talk about whatever I want in Magic the Gathering, and today I want to talk about this limited format. We're going to get into that. I think that a lot of people at the start of this format really didn't like it, and I want to talk about that. Before we get there, don't forget to check out our sponsor at Flipside Gaming, as well as PureMTGO.com, which their sponsor is, of course, MTGOtraders.com. We really appreciate both their sponsorships. If you go to flipsidegaming.com, please use the code CCMTG at checkout to get a percentage off your order, and they'll give me a K-Pack, so we really appreciate them. If you want to support this content directly, just go to patreon.com/ccmtg to become a patron of this show, Constructive Criticism, Limited Time Only, and the entire network. We really appreciate it. So let's start and talk about this limited format. So Ixalan came out, and people hated it. It was one of the least hyped formats ever. Maybe that's not the right word. Hype, it did have. Reception, it did not have. People didn't like it. People felt like the decks didn't work, that they were being punished for doing the things that Wizards was telling them to do, and it was really confusing for a lot of people, including myself. I didn't like this format to start with. I remember playing in the online pre-release as well as some drafts, and just feeling like this format was weird and not very fun. And I think that if you go down the path that Wizards lead you down, it's not very fun. Because you can't draft the things you want to draft. Maybe you want to draft Naya Dinosaurs. Maybe you want to draft blue-white Flyers. Or green-black, Explore. Those aren't decks. You can't do that. You could draft maybe green-red. You could draft maybe red-white. But you certainly can't do the things that you feel like you should be able to do. And that's a little bit weird in the format. And there's a few reasons for this. The first reason is this format is really aggressive. So, if you didn't know, Ixalan is an aggressive format. Things like Goblin Warpaint, which I don't know the name of it in this set, are completely playable. It's 1 in a red enchantment that gives your creature +2/+2 in haste. Completely playable. If you Mark of the Vampire is one of the better cards in the set. That's a black and 3 for an enchantment that gives +2/+2 and lifelink. I think that when we started the format, we thought these were synergy decks and everything was great, but it turns out that Spectral Flight, whatever that's called, the Goblin Warpaint, and the Mark of the Vampire are some of the better cards in the set, and that's because of the type of interaction that you get, and we're going to get to that. The other thing is that you have to understand that you need to be attacking in this format. Blocking is kind of bad, and there are only certain creatures that are really good at blocking. One of the things that you want to be doing in this format is really drafting a deck. It's really important. Now you might say, what are you talking about, Spencer? You always draft a deck. That's actually not true. A lot of times you're drafting the best cards and they assemble what becomes your deck. In this case, you actually want a strategy going into the draft format, similar to something like Modern Masters. It's not just about drafting good cards, because the cards don't go together the way that they normally do, right? So in Modern Masters, you want a clear game plan, right? If you're the blue-white affinity drafter, you're going to get the blue-white affinity cards. Here, if you're the black-white vampires drafter, you're going to get the black-white vampires cards. It's not that all black and white cards go in your vampires deck. In fact, they very much don't. Some of the dinosaur cards don't go in your deck. Some of the pirate cards are really bad in your deck. And you want to really maximize your synergies, but not to the point that we thought we did. You still want a synergistic deck, and your deck is better because of it. But it's not that you get this huge payoff for going Grixis Pirates, and you don't get this huge payoff for going Blue-Green Merfolk. It's kind of weird, because when you say it out loud, it's like, well, isn't that what we thought to start with? But not really. Because the thing is that no deck has great interaction. And interaction is key. So when you think about the Blue-Green Merfolk deck, your real plan is to play Jade Guardian, put in an enchantment on it or some +1/+1 counters, and then interact for your opponent with expensive bounce spells. Well, why does that work? Because everybody else has really expensive removal too. So when you think about something like Dinosaurs or Red-White, why do those decks work? So let's take Red-White for example. This is one of the few decks that actually doesn't have very many synergies. Outside of having a few Dinosaur synergies, the format doesn't really... The deck, doesn't really care about the rest of the format. If you see a good 2-drop, you take a good 2-drop. If you see a good burn spell, you take a good burn spell. And then it just so happens that the mishmangled stuff that's left over from what the Vampire deck and the Dinos deck didn't want does actually come out to be the kind of deck that you would want. And you really don't want anything and the Merfolk deck is taking the other stuff that the Dino deck needs. So you just kind of get this mishmash of things that actually work out to be a really good aggressive deck. But even in this deck, interaction is key. Combat tricks are really good in this format. When you think of things like Vampire Zeal and Skullduggery, they're some of the better cards in the format. 1-mana combat tricks are always good, but in this format, because of how expensive the removal is and the other interaction is, it makes those combat tricks even better. Early on in Limited Time Only, we were talking about how good Sure Strike is. That doesn't change here. Sure Strike stays very good because you want to be attacking, and because of that, you really get to punish those who are trying to block. And Vampire Zeal and Skullduggery do the exact same thing at even less mana. The other thing that you want to think about is 2-drops. 2-drops are really important in this format. You have to understand that because of how expensive removal is, it's really important to get on the board first. This is very much a board presence matters kind of format. That's why things like enchantments are so good, right? You get on the board early, you put an enchantment on your guy, it's before your opponent can play removal, and suddenly that enchantment gets in one, maybe two swings that they can't block, or that they do block and you got the cards out of it anyway, and then the removal spell doesn't matter and you don't lose that tempo. And I think that you have to understand what your opponent could reasonably have. Too often this weekend, while I was playing in the PPDQ that I won, I saw people not making attacks or not making blocks because they were worried about something that didn't exist. And understanding the type of removal, combat tricks, and interaction your opponent can reasonably play, or even haste creatures, makes it so you can make more profitable attacks and really gain an advantage in this format. Because they're not going to reasonably play some cards in their deck that you might think. And knowing that going into an attack step is really powerful. And this is true of all limited formats, but it's a lot more true when the removal is expensive and clunky. And the creatures are cheap and the enchantments are good. So understanding how things can swing is going to help you a little bit more. In conclusion, I think that this format's a lot more fun than we thought. We just didn't realize how aggressive it was going to be. It's really important for us to take a step back, reevaluate the format, and see if we can find new ways to improve. I don't think this format is very deep. I don't think it's going to change from this aggressive, synergy-based, Modern Master style format, but it's a lot better than Avacyn Restored, which people were accusing it of being as bad as. And that's good. I think that it sucks that this is the first draft format of this season because it'll get the most reps. But, it's always fun to learn, and that's something that we should be trying to do. And I hope that that's what this limited form or this video is about with this limited format, is understanding we can be wrong, we were wrong, and even the pros were wrong. Like, early on, it was hard to understand. And that's kind of Wizards' fault for leading us down the wrong path, but always try and be improving and understand what can I do to maximize my win percentage here, and is it different than what I thought to start with. So that's it for this week. Don't forget to check out patreon.com/ccmtg to become a direct supporter of this content and content like it. $1 more per month. Anything is really appreciated. Don't forget to check out our sponsors at flipsidegaming.com. Use the code CCMTG at checkout, and puremtgo.com, where you can check out tons of other great content. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It's really appreciated. It really helps out the channel. Leave a comment with your thoughts of this limited format. And don't forget to check out Constructive Criticism and Limited Time Only, 2 podcasts about getting better at Magic the Gathering. And we'll see you guys all next week with another episode of Wednesday Night Warrior. Bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Just a quick little spiel after this video. So, Constructive Criticism has always needed an LLC once we started the Patreon. So, I've started a new YouTube channel and a parent company of Constructive Criticism, and that's at Heezy Game Media. So, if you are interested in things outside of Magic content, other gaming and nerd culture content, whether it's Star Wars, video games, upcoming Marvel movies, different stuff like that, check out Heezy Game Media here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button there. You can also check out the Patreon at Heezy Game Media on Patreon. But all the support is really appreciated. It means the world to me. It's kind of cool that I have to do this, but thank you so much to all of the support in the past. If you're interested in that stuff, please click there. If not, we're going to continue to keep the Magic content separate, just for you guys. And yeah, thank you guys so much for your support. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, leave a comment, and thank you. Thank you so much. It really does mean the world to me. So, see you guys all next week.